ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages. It's that time. The music is up. The title screen is on. It is Thursday night, 10:30. Time for another Old Humble Happy Hour. Sound check is complete. Go get your cocktails. Make sure they're ready. We will start in just a few seconds. You know the drill. Grab your butts and fill your cups. I think that's how it goes. Folks, my cocktails are ready. I assume your cocktails are ready as well, and we are about to start. And give me a countdown. 5, 4, 3. Hang on, I got one last thing to do. We're gonna start that countdown again. There we go. I need to literally roll my sleeves up. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Well, let's get going. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I am the Old Humble Guy, Joe Brita. This is the Old Humble Distilling Company, and you are in my tasting room, and I have to ask, have you tried my delicious whiskey? Because if not, I've got a treat for you today, because we have 4 award-winning Texas whiskeys for you to try. First off is our straight whiskey, 90% corn, 10% malted barley, aged 5 years in used bourbon barrels and bottled at 90 proof. Next to it is our special reserve. We take a portion of the straight whiskey and put it back in new barrels to age it a second time. Gives it a little bit deeper color, a little bit darker flavor, a little bit oakier, smokier finish. Third on the list is our Boomtown Bourbon, our flagship bourbon, the first bourbon we've ever made. A true Texas small batch craft bourbon made in 50-gallon batches and aged in 5-gallon barrels. And finally, our double oak rye, a true Texas rye sourced with grains from the Texas Panhandle, aged with extra oak staves to balance out that high rye flavor and give it a nice, clean, smooth finish. 4 award-winning Texas whiskeys, all available right here at the Old Humble Distilling Company and in finer liquor stores near you. Plus, you can go online, oldhumbledistilling.com. Go to shop online, and you can order yourself up a bottle there in 46 states across the country. Treat yourself to something nice. Treat yourself to something from Old Humble Distilling Company. Cheers, and happy drinking. And that was a word from our sponsors, and our sponsors is me, the Old Humble Guy. Welcome to the Old Humble Distilling Company's live happy hour. What do we call this thing? The Old Humble Distilling Company happy hour, right? That's what we call this thing? It is our periodic happy hour. We get to get together and talk to each other the way we used to before the pandemic. The way, you used to be able to talk to strangers and talk about things that weren't weird. You weren't weird people back then. Back then we could be, interesting and fun and talk to strangers and enjoy ourselves in bars and clubs in a way that wasn't weird and or creepy. So welcome to our happy hour where we can do those things. Once again, in ways that is refreshing and enjoyable. As I said, I am the Old Humble Guy, and I own and operate the Old Humble Distilling Company. We make delicious whiskeys like you see behind my back, and I am drinking one of those tonight. Our Double Oak Rye. Double Oak Rye is a full-bodied Texas rye made with grains from the panhandle of the state of Texas, aged with extra oak staves in the barrel to give it a deeper, more balanced flavor. As I said in just that video that you watched a moment ago, I had like a beard then, but this part of my beard is kind of gray, more gray than it was before, so it looked like I just had a mustache, but I actually had, my mustache does not grow gray yet. It's still dark. So it's like dark here, and then it gets dark. It stays dark, mostly dark on the chin, and then it kind of starts to fade back to gray over here. I still have dark streaks up here and dark streaks down here, so I can actually have a dark mustache around my chin line, or dark beard around my chin line. I can shave off the grays, but sometimes I actually get a little bit adventurous. That's the word I'm looking for, and color that beard and make it darker. But not lately. I've chosen instead lately to just keep it trim, shave off the stuff every 2 or 3 days, leave it with a stubble. Let's start with a toast, shall we? I need a towel. Hold on a second. There we go. Bandana for cleaning up little minor spills that do come our way, especially when you're pouring a drink. This one spilled a little bit over the edge because I have the large piece of ice on the inside. Cheers to all of you fine folks out there. May your evening be enjoyable and your life be full of health, wealth, and good cheer. How's that? Let's move this down a little bit so it's not directly in my face. Angle it up so that I can speak into it, and it looks like our sound levels are still good. Cheers. I'm actually trying to embrace a healthier lifestyle. I think you may be able to tell my face is not as puffy as it was at the end of the year. I've lost weight since the beginning of the year. This is actually my first live happy hour that we've done since December. I've gone live a few times from the distillery, bottling whiskey, labeling bottles, doing my behind the scenes work at my operating floor, at my operating table. But I have not gone live from our pandemic studio. We're going to set a goal for this. I don't know where the goal information is. We're going to set a goal for this program in just a few minutes. We've got. I'm waiting for a little bit of the crowd to show up. We'll get a few folks in here before I start the goal for the night. What we're basically the goal is going to be to raise $20 for the show, and after $20, I will give away a T-shirt. I'll show all that information in just a second. But what's the topic for tonight? Well, we're going to talk about a few things. A couple of whiskey topics. We're going to talk about what is the whiskey topic that we're going to talk about today. Let me check my phone in the description of the show. I have it there. Whiskey topic for the day is show me more. I wrote all this stuff down yesterday, so I don't really remember. Whiskey topic is the difference between rye whiskey, scotch, and rye whiskey, scotch, and bourbon. Question I get asked all the time. What's the difference between rye whiskey, scotch, and bourbon? That's a great question. And then, of course, the topic of the show, as you can see from the title screen, which was over here and down here, on episode 249. We're almost on our 250th episode. I have to give a bottle away on the 250th episode. Why do edgelords think they're so cool? Yeah, edgelords are actually the problem, but we'll talk about that in a second. Well, that's going to be the monologue-y, I guess, maybe. That'll be the topic of the night. We'll talk about that. And then the big question topic, why do people act like Crown and Jack are good whiskeys? All of these questions, well, two of those questions were submitted by visitors to our distillery, people online that I've talked to, people that I've talked to at stores while doing tastings. Uh, yeah, IMs, DMs. Those are questions that have been sent to me. The edgelord question, though, that's my topic. That's the topic that I get to discuss, and I'm looking forward to that one because, God, these turd sacks are the worst. Anyway, this being our first live happy hour of the year, I'm pretty sure it's the first live happy hour of the year. I think the last one was early in December. I wanted to do more of these, but I've just been so damn busy. What have we been doing at the distillery that's had me so busy? Well, I've been running around doing, okay, starting in January, I've done I spent a week at an entrepreneur's boot camp and recording a reality TV show in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So there was that. Which side has the bright? This one's the bright light. Turn this a little bit. Maybe that'll help. All right, that's better. It's not quite so bright over here. It's more on the wall. Although it's kind of bright on the wall now. Turn it back this way a little bit. Yeah, so that bright spotlight's there. Maybe if I knock it down one level of brightness. I wish I had a remote control for these lights. Shout out to our next sponsor. Who's this? Currently... Okay, so that's darker. This one's the bright one now. Maybe I need to have that as a red light too. Text now. Call plus text unlimited on the App Store. They're our next sponsor. Thanks. Hey, guys. Cheers to you guys. Instacart was the sponsor at the beginning of the show. Mr. Great Shot's in the house. Cheers, Mr. Great Shot. So anyway, that was January. It's been a week in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This feels bright. Is this the one that's bright? No, this one's this. Mr. Great Shot, you tell me how the lighting looks. I'm back center, camera center now. Right? Yeah, I'm back camera center. You tell me how the lighting looks. This is the lighting set that we're gonna have right now. Unless I decide to fiddle with that light again, because I think I think it looks fine. I think I look okay. I think everything's, it looks good back here. It looks good up here. I think we're good. I think we're set. Let me, actually, I think I want to go up a little bit. Raise the chair up a little bit. Yeah, that's good. I think we're set. I think I'm set technically. Okay. Anyway, so that was January. And then the second half of January, I was sick. I was down with the flu, not COVID, just the flu, nasty flu. And then come February, I got all my shit back together and we started going out, just swinging for the fences. Several festivals two festivals that I did in February. Implemented our date night program for Friday nights at the distillery. Worked on a flavored bourbons in the distillery. Unleashed a whole bunch of new programs. Started working on my website. Got it back from the people who had hijacked it and screwed it all up and fixed it. Spent 2 or 3 weeks fixing my website. And then that got us into March. And into March, we started the First Fridays program with Connor Keys. Or was that, did that start? No, that was the first Friday that we did with Connor was in March. So we did, no, I take that back. The first Friday that we did was in February. So we did the first Friday in February, the first Friday in March. And that's kind of a vaudevillian variety type show. Live at the distillery. The only place you can see it, the only place you can encounter it is at the distillery. So that's super duper exciting. And then our Friday night date nights are every other Friday of the month. You get two flights, 2 cocktails, and a charcuterie board for $50 at the distillery. The atmosphere is much more romantic and sexy. It's designed for couples. So come on out on Friday nights and have your fun. We'll start your night off awesome. How it ends is up to you. What other stuff have we done? And I'm back. But pale, but good and pale. I bet this is a rose filter. That is a clear filter. Maybe this needs to be blue. How about that? That better? I like that better, actually. What do you think, Mr. Great Shot? You tell me. How's that look? A little purpley action? It's a little bit... I guess this is good lighting. This is what I look like with good lighting. This is what I look like when I dim it. Maybe I just dim the light. You look better in dim lights, old Humble. Yeah, thanks. Fuck you all. How's that? Yeah, that's not quite so washed out. That's a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's better. I think it looks better. That one now feels a little bit bright, but I think it's also because I'm getting the light off my monitor here, the light from the monitor and a light from both sides at the same time. So this light, my actual studio light, is kind of gray. I have a gray filter. It dulls it down a little bit, but the light from the monitor, I can't do anything about the light from the monitor. It is bright and it's in my eyes, and I hate it. But there's nothing I can do about it. I can do this about it, but that's pretty much it. Anyway, that's the technical stuff behind the scenes. That's no fun. But yeah, that's what I've been doing for most of the year. I've been working my ass off. Working phone calls, doing all the stuff that we need to do. Yeah, this side is... see, I don't know if I could do anything about this side. Let me see what happens when I do that. Yeah, see, it's all the light from the monitor. With that... That's the light from the monitor, kind of washing out the side of it is what it is. Nothing much I can do about that. Anyway, and it's all culminated at the end of March in getting a order signed and sealed with an importer in Germany. So I've got a big order going out to Germany that should be done, packaged up, boxed up, palletized, and ready to ship by the end of next week, God willing, and if the creek don't rise. So that's the stuff going on at the distillery. That's kind of the town hall-y type of stuff. What have you been up to, old humble guy? That's what we've been up to. So if you're at all curious about the comings and goings and ins and outs of a small craft distillery in the state of Texas, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. So on to other stuff, just other stuff, personal stuff, my stuff. Like anybody gives a shit about what's going on in my personal life. I have finally gone back to the doctor for the first time in 2.5 years. Gonna get this shit under control. Gonna get, I know for the last 5 years I've been carrying probably 50 pounds more than my frame should carry. I see myself on the lives in the distillery. I look like a fat piece of shit, but I haven't had either the motivation or the time or the energy to do anything about it for the last couple of years. And now I have time and motivation and energy to do something about it. I don't want to I don't want my lovely wife to come home from work and see me face down at a bowl of Cheerios, because I stroked out at the beginning of during breakfast. So I've decided I'm going to live to 125 years old. I've started to get this under control in the last 3 weeks. Since the beginning of April, I've lost 10 pounds, and really since the end of the first week. So really since the 12th, because that first week I was kind of keto-ish, not keto. But then I was like, you know what? If I'm going to go in, I'm going to go in. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to do what I can to try and annoy my lovely wife for the next 75 years. So she's got to do her part. She's also got to live to be 125 years old. But between the two of us, we're going to both live to be 125 years old. She's a year younger than me, so she's going to be 125. She's going to get one bonus year without me, but we're going to live to be 125 years old. She's going to do her part. I'm going to do my part. So I'm embracing a more healthy lifestyle. I'm not drinking a bottle of whiskey a week. I'm drinking, 2 weeks to a bottle now, maybe 3 weeks to a bottle, but this is going to be my only drink tonight. I'm I'm behaving myself, cutting out almost all the carbs. I've gone from probably 1,000 carbs a day, the amount of shit that I ate in a day between the cereal and the milk and the bread and the more bread and the snacking and the chips and the potatoes and the potato chips and the French fries and the more French fries and the Coke, probably a couple of Cokes. Oh my God, I was just stuffing my big, fat, disgusting maw with all kinds of disgusting crap. And then the ice cream and the peanut butter cups. Oh my God, chocolate was my weakness. But I've gone from probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 carbs a day to last week I had, I think, 40 in the whole week. So, and it translated to 10 pounds right off the top. Today and yesterday, I think I had maybe 20. Today I had maybe 30-ish between I had grits for breakfast because, oh God, I love grits. I miss mashed potatoes so fucking much. We're going to catch up on chat real quick. So I have this cool, I have the Twidgets. That's Mr. Great Shot coming into the game. And he's back because of a forced commercial. What did you do? I want to know what the commercial was. I need to know who our sponsors are. We've had Instacart. We've had Text Unlimited or Text Plus Chat. I want to know who the sponsors are for your shows. Because I've also implemented a strategy for ads on YouTube. But it's not working yet. I'm starting a strategy for ads on YouTube, and that's kind of a secondary, an experiment that we're working on, and I haven't gotten there yet. This shirt is too dark. This is a plaid shirt. Y'all see that? It's plaid. You can't even see that it's plaid. So I usually have my blue plaid, but I also have a green plaid, and I usually wear the blue. I'm going to swap this out during intermission. Whiskey Uncensored in the house. Cheers, my man. Whiskey Uncensored. Stolat. Stole it. Got it. Don't know what that means. Dude, did the doc say that you're ugly and can't help you? Yes. He also said that I was ugly and that there was nothing to be done about the ugliness. But there you go. I do intend to do more of these happy hours. I do intend to get back to it. Yeah, you're right. Whiskey has absolutely no carbs. Alcohol does stuff. It has to do with the blood pressure. And I am working on fixing that as well. But hey, a healthier lifestyle is a good start. And if I've got to go whole cold turkey, completely off the sauce for a week, I can do that. That's not really that hard to do. Ice cream, good idea. Get back to. And now here's the thing. I don't mind living to be 125 years old, but if I've got to give up ice cream, I'm not sure it's worth it. I'm not sure it's worth it, but I know it. So here's the thing. It's all interconnected, right? So I'm carrying too much weight on my frame, which means it hurts to exercise. Going out for a run, it's uncomfortable on my bike because I've got this fucking watermelon here in my gut. It's uncomfortable to be on my bike. It's uncomfortable to go for a run. I can go for a walk, but then I'm just wrecked for 2 or 3 days. If I can do it for 2 or 3 or 4 days, and then I'm just tired, and my body's tired, and my body's like, hey, what are you doing? You got to drag all this crap around. My knees hurt, my feet hurt, my Achilles tendon starts to act up around my heel. Everything starts to short circuit and go haywire. And then I got to take a couple of days off, and I take a couple of days off, and then the momentum's gone. The habit gets broken, and I can't. And it's hard to keep that going, right? So the sedentary lifestyle leads to high blood pressure. The high blood pressure leads to being tired, and when you're tired, you don't want to go work out. You don't want to do anything. You get fat. You get heavy. All this stuff's interconnected. So I was thinking if I could knock the weight off, then I could go back and get to exercising. I get to exercising. It helps with the high blood pressure and anything else that's going on. Because if you burn the engine hot enough, whatever fuel you throw in there gets consumed, right? So back when I was riding my bike 75 miles every weekend and 120 miles a week, back when I was running 25 miles a week, I mean, I could eat any garbage. I could eat bags and bags and bags of peanut butter M&Ms. By the way, peanut butter and chocolate is my Achilles heel. It is totally my weakness. That is my kryptonite. I have to avoid entire rows and aisles in the grocery store. I just like stick to the outside. I have 4 boxes of Velveeta shells and cheese in my pantry right now that I can't eat because it's like 125 carbs in that shit. I want some mac and cheese and barbecue sprinkled on top. God damn. I miss mac and cheese. I miss the mac and cheese. I miss the mashed potatoes. I don't really miss the bread so much, but I always treated the bread as kind of a delivery device for garlic and cheese and butter. But it's also weird to eat garlic butter just by the spoonful. So those are some of the things that I miss, but I don't really miss burgers. I don't really miss, although, in the keto world, a burger without the potato, without the French fries, and without the Coke, a burger's not bad. The only thing that's stuffed with carbs is the bread, but a burger's not bad. It's just not really healthy meat. But, at breakfast, I'll eat a burger patty and eggs. Like a fucking boss. Anyway, enough of that. I'm trying to live to be 125. That's my goal. 125 years old. And I figure once you cross a certain threshold, it doesn't really fucking matter. At 95 years old, I'm going to eat ice cream and drink whiskey every damn day. I don't care. I mean, what are they going to do? Tell me you can't do this. Like, fuck you. I've already lived 20 years past the normal life expectancy. I'll eat and do whatever I want. We're not taking away any of the good years. I've already had my 20s. Cheers to that. I had my 20s and they were good years. I'm wearing a belt. I'm not supposed to be wearing a belt during our happy hour. I'm wearing shoes. Traditionally speaking, y'all may not know this, but traditionally speaking, at the beginning of the happy hour, belt's gone. At the beginning of the happy hour phenomenon, it was during the pandemic, late March, early April during 2020, during the pandemic. And this was a period of time in the Old Humble household where we were pretty much just walking around. I mean, nobody was at school. Nobody was at work. We were in our pajamas most of the days. We didn't wear shoes because we never left the house. So the Old Humble Happy Hour, it was an event where, I never wore shoes during the Old Humble Happy Hour. It was a tradition. And when I would get ready to do the show, I would take off my shoes, I would put on my flannel, get my Hattie hat and my sunglasses to make sure that the lights didn't blind me. And that's how we do it. And it is a tradition that I've tried to maintain throughout the entire life of the show. And I am continuing to maintain that tradition. No belt, no shoes, all service. Let's get on with the show. Enough of my medical woes, enough of my personal shit. Y'all don't need to know all that. But I'm just a dude. I'm a dude who owns a distillery and makes whiskey. I'm just a dude. So I don't have any problem being open and authentic with you guys. That's what we do. That's what we do. I'm not going to lie to you about who I am and what I do, and I'm not going to lie to you about my whiskey. It's good shit. And you can go online. Don't forget to hit the subscribe bell. There it is. You can order our whiskey online at oldhumbledistilling.com/shop online. Does it have the dash in there? No, just go to oldhumble.com. Yeah, go to oldhumbledistilling.com. There's a shop online button. Go to that. You can go straight there, order the whiskeys. If you don't like it, if it's a bad bottle, if you don't like the whiskey, I will replace it with 2 bottles from our menu. You tell me I did a bad job of describing to you the type of whiskey that we make. You got the wrong bottle. That's on me. because I didn't educate you enough. If it's a bad bottle, let me know. All you got to do is pay shipping. We'll replace your bottles. We'll replace it with that one bottle with 2 other bottles. My nose itches. Too much cocaine. Just kidding. There's no such thing as too much cocaine. That's going to cost me monetization probably. All right, let's get on with the show, shall we? Let's set the goal for the show. All right, let's make it official. 10 super chats. We'll do 10 super chats at the $2 level. How's that sound? If we raise $20, we'll do 10 super chats at the $2 level. Close that. Whoops. That's good. 10 super chats at the $2 level. And let's give it a good long window. Let's give it 2 hours. What time is it right now? It's 11 o'clock. Let's give it till 1 o'clock. Let's give it 2 hours. We will give away a t-shirt to one of the people who donated, who contributed to the super. There we go. We'll give away a t-shirt. What t-shirt are you talking about, old humble guy? Well, whoops. There we go. We printed up some of these Love You Blue t-shirts. The actual color comes through. Love You Blue t-shirts with our logo on the belly. Nothing's on the back. But there are Love You Blue t-shirts. Columbia Blue with our logo. Limited edition. We only did like 30 or 40 of these. So it's a limited edition run. Columbia Blue, Love You Blue, Old Humble Distilling Company t-shirts. We do $20 in super chats. I will give away a t-shirt to one of the super chattors. I believe that is the proper etymology and words that we use. So the goal is active. We have a 2-hour window till 1 a.m. Central Standard Time. $20, 10 chats, $20. And I guess if somebody does 5 chats for $4, we'll do the same thing. And you'll have a better chance to win. Old Humble Distilling Company, Love You Blue t-shirt. I will package it into a bag and ship it to your door. Just let me know let me know your size, and we'll ship it out next week. Okay, so there you go. On to the whiskey topics. What is the difference? Do I have a graphic for that? John? Hey, John, do we have a graphic for the, nope. Okay. And I also do not have an earpiece. Okay. Also good to know. Both things good to know. Okay. So first topic of the night, whiskey topic. What's the difference between rye, whiskey, Scotch, bourbon, Canadian, Irish, and Japanese? I guess you could throw into those categories. So in, too much Coke to go with the samples. Before we do that, I'm actually going to catch up on the chats real quick. Because here's what happens. I don't pay attention to chat for too long, and then the show ends up going till 5 a.m. while I catch up to chat and y'all keep chatting. So this is where I left off. Ice cream, got to get back to some. You temptatious individual. No ice cream for me. My show is sponsored by my Black Fast. Onwards. I guess Joe forgot he has my number. Whiskey Uncensored. Do I have your number? I do have your number. I think. Let me double check. I'm 99% certain I have your number. Where are you? I do have your number. There you go. Yep. We've actually swapped chats. I need to get back to you. You want to know about the Cast Strength Black Cat Ridge. I'm going to get back to you about that. That's an announcement for next month. May. So carry on. Don't mind me. I didn't even mention that. But I'll get back to you in May. We have an announcement coming out in May that may or may not be related to our Black Cat Ridge. So there you go. Top Shelf Dustin's in the house. Oh yeah, Dustin, I've got that discount code set up for you on our shop online website. Um, I forgot to tell you about that. No sauce for a week. Uh, no sauce for a week. So from what I understand, uh, the diastolic number in your blood pressure is affected by consumption of the alcoholic beverages. Goddamn, another ad? Who the fuck is this? PubMed.gov. PubMed.gov. And it's in Japanese or Chinese? What the All right, I don't know what that is. So shout out to those guys, whatever the fuck they're doing. FYI, caption your commercials in English so that I can give you a proper shout out. Anyway, so yeah, this is related to the diastolic pressure, which apparently means something in medical speak, but I don't know much else about it. On next, traditional Pola song, So Lot. Ah, okay. 100 years, traditional Pola song that is sung to express good wishes, good health, and a long life to a person. Okay, that's what you were talking about. Gotcha. Let's go back to them squatting 365, and I'm 260. No fun. The pain is real. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm just tired of feeling heavy and feeling fat, and I want to do something about it. And I want to get out there and I want to run. I miss exercising. I miss having that feeling of, your lungs burning as you're sprinting down the final stretch. Anyway, my legs burning as I'm sprinting on my bike, just pounding it out down the road there. Good deals. M&M Royals? I don't think I've ever had an M&M Royal. What kind of M&M is an M&M Royale, my friend? Please. Carbs aren't why you should avoid mac and cheese. It's the fat. No, it's the carbs. But yes, also the fat. I mean, also, I'm not a family of four, but Velveeta seems to think that I am. And I have all my life, oh my God, I have been a Kraft mac and cheese guy. I did not like the Velveeta shells and cheese, but I've been won over in my old age, my crotchety old age. I've been won over by the Velveeta shells and cheese. Damn, that's some good stuff. It's just so rich and cheesy. Oh, Christ almighty. Okay, I'm back. We're good. I'm going to show up with 3 bags of peanut butter M&Ms for a trade. Hey, you show up with 3 bags of dude, that is a fair trade. I will hook you up with a damn. That's my weakness. I kid you not. That is 100% my weakness. I cannot be bribed, but I can. My opinion can be swayed with peanut butter and chocolate. No doubt at all. Harbor Freight advertisement. Whoop whoop! Shout out to Harbor Freight. You know how many times I've gone to Harbor Freight to buy a knife and then had to borrow a knife to cut the fucking knife out of the Harbor Freight packaging for the knife. Good times. But most of the equipment that I buy I actually get off Amazon or I just go down the street to Ace Hardware. And if Ace Hardware doesn't have it, then I go further down the street to Lowe's. Harbor Freight is the other direction. So when I stop by Ace is literally at the corner, just around the corner from the distillery. So I'll go to Ace for almost everything that I need. But if it's for something that costs more than $50, I can save $10 on it if I go to Lowe's. And Harbor Freight is the other direction. So I'm already on the way to Lowe's. So I end up going to Lowe's. And that's where I buy, most of the heavy crafting equipment that I use. Or semi-heavy. Heavier crafting equipment. I don't have a lot of heavy equipment. Too much Coke. Coke would solve the weight problem, I think. They do have drugs for that. And I'm giving it serious thought. If I can take an injection or a pill that would help melt off the weight over the course of 3 months instead of having to work on it for 6 months, I'm willing to do the work. I'm not afraid to do the work. I'm willing to do the work. I just wanted to go faster. You know, I don't mind working on it for 6 months, but God, that's just a long. If I could shortcut it, you know, if it like a gym membership is what a CrossFit membership. There's a CrossFit place across the parking lot from my shop. That's like $200 a month. A gym membership is anywhere from $8 to $50 a month, right? If I can get a prescription for $50 a month and change my diet and, you know, just go out and run. I mean, I could do twice, like get twice the results of a gym membership with a $50 prescription. Why the fuck would I not do that? That's way better. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that wants to go to a gym every afternoon. I've got my schedule will not necessarily allow for that, but I can get up in the morning and go run. I can get up in the morning and ride my bike for an hour. I just, it's going to the gym. Even if you're going to the gym for an hour, you've got to get ready at home, then go to the gym, then change and work out, and then shower and change and come back versus just doing it at home. You get up, you get on the bike, you go, you shower, you're done. An hour long bike ride or a 30-minute bike ride only takes you 45 minutes because, you get home, you shower, you're ready to go. And that's your day. You don't have to drive to a gym and do all the shit with all the other meatheads. Now, it is a social event. Hanging out with the meatheads is a social event. You get to talk with them and hang out with them and all that stuff. So it's cool. I've been a gym member before. It's cool. You get to go hang out with the other gym rats. I don't have any problem with that. But this stage of my life, I also like my naps. So there you go. Coke to go with the samples. Difference. Oh, okay. Yeah. On to the topic at hand. The whiskeys. So what's the difference between rye and scotch and whiskey? And this is the question I get all the time. What's the difference between bourbon and whiskey? This is the really fun one. When you say, hey, would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Oh, I don't drink whiskey. I only drink scotch. Hey, my guy. Or I don't drink whiskey. I only drink bourbon. Or hey, my guy, guess what? Bourbon's a whiskey. Why don't you try this? It's also a bourbon. Oh, I don't drink bourbon. That's one that I always get. Hey, would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Oh, I don't drink bourbons. Oh, well, good news. This isn't a bourbon. Try it. Because some of the whiskeys I do tastings on aren't bourbons. And there's a lot of people that have preconceived notions of what ryes taste like. And they're not wrong because most of the ryes taste exactly like they think they taste. And that's awful. That's also why I don't call my corn whiskeys. My straight whiskey and special reserve, there's my straight whiskey. And my special reserve, is that my special reserve? Or is that yeah, that's the special reserve, the Boomtown. The Black Label Boomtowns, they're the special reserves over here. Anyway, that's why I don't call them corn whiskeys, because people have in their head an idea of what corn whiskey tastes like. And my whiskeys don't taste like corn whiskeys. They taste better than that. But what is all this crap that I'm talking about? For the whiskey neophytes who don't know, who may be watching, they're all whiskeys. The whiskey's the family. Corn whiskey, rye, wheat whiskey, oatmeal whiskey, whiskey, rice whiskey. Whiskey is any distilled spirit fermented from grains, cereal grains specifically. So oatmeal, wheat, all the different types of wheat, rye, barley, corn, rice. Those are your primary sources of cereal grains. There's other cereal grains, less popular cereal grains that also make whiskey. But they don't make a lot of those. They don't make those whiskeys often because they're not very popular cereal grains. The most popular cereal grain for most of human history was rye. And most of human history, rye whiskey was the whiskey to drink until the Scots developed barley into a fermentable grain. And that barley became scotch. So that was the first distilled spirit that was known by the proper name of whiskey, or what we now call whiskey. would be Scotch, and that is made in Scotland, and it is governed by all the different laws that Scotland has to make their whiskey Scotch. I can make single malt whiskey in Texas here in the good old US of A, but I cannot call it Scotch. That is a protected term, trademark term by the Scotch makers of Scotland, or whatever the fuck their trade industry is called. I don't care. Or industry trade association is called. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I can't call it Scotch. Legally, I can't call it Scotch. If I call it Scotch, an army of kilted lawyers will show up at my house. One of them will be playing bagpipes, which is offensive enough. I won't be able to understand a damn thing they say, but I will absolutely get a cease and desist letter, possibly a fight, depending on if they're in a good mood or not. And then, you know, we'll probably have a dram and a laugh, and I still won't know what at all they're saying, because they're from Scotland and they speak whatever that strange language is that they speak in Scotland. But I'll probably end up with a bottle. They'll end up with a bottle of mine. We'll shake hands, part ways, and I'll never, ever, 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 ever do that again. So to avoid that whole fiasco, it sounds like fun, but also, you know, if you have an army of Scotsmen on your front lawn, you're going to have a cleanup problem. Someone's going to have to come out there and clean up that mess after they're gone. And honestly, I don't have time for that. I don't. I have other things to do. Miguel and his team would probably end up having to clean it up, and then they'll probably charge me more, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, we skip all that. Canadian whiskey is not rye whiskey. Canadian whiskey is predominantly rye, but it doesn't have to be. And that is one of the many reasons why we have a legal code in the United States that defines what whiskeys are. Because in the 1800s, in the days before the code, which was set to law in, I believe, 1914, I think that was when the alcohol code was passed. I think it was 1914. It was just before Prohibition. Before that time, people could call their whiskey, they could call literally whatever they wanted to do and call it whiskey. It could be fermented, it could be literally rum, fermented molasses, and they could call it whiskey. It was kind of a catch-all term. And it could be colored, flavored, anything that had alcohol in it to be colored brown and flavored like whiskey-ish, and they would call it whiskey. It didn't matter what it was fermented from. Usually it was fermented from some derivative of sugar, because sugar is very easy to ferment. Yeast loves sugar. So a lot of times the local distilleries would distill whatever and call it whiskey. So they had to codify into law what it was, whether it was vodka, rum, tequila, gin, or a schnapps, brandy. I'm leaving out a category: whiskey, rum, vodka, schnapps, gin, tequila. I guess I'm not leaving out a category. That's all 6. So it would be codified at the federal level of what alcohols were. So technically speaking, vodka didn't exist in the United States until 1914. It was a thing, but it didn't legally exist until 1914. There was a drink that we all called vodka. There was a drink that was from Europe that we called vodka. There was a drink that we made that we called vodka. But it only became codified with the passage of that law. There was a drink that we had that came out of barrels, that came in bottles, that we called vodka, or that we called whiskey. And then definitions of what the rye was, what the types of whiskey was, whether it was rye, whether it was bourbon, whether it was rye, whether it was bourbon, whether it was corn whiskey. All of that became defined by code in 1914. And it wasn't an invention necessarily, because the way the whiskey was made was already in existence. It was just codifying that which the industry was already doing. So All that said, what's rye? Rye whiskey is a type of whiskey that's made predominantly with rye grains. I would argue that the best ryes are the ryes that are made with mostly rye, almost entirely rye, 95% rye or more. I'm not a big fan of the half and halves. I think it's the Massachusetts rye, I think is what it's called, versus the Pennsylvania rye. The Pennsylvania rye is 95% rye. Historically, the styles of whiskey. Bourbon is at least 50% corn, aged in new charred oak barrels, no coloring, no flavoring, and all the other stuff that makes whiskey. Distilled at up to 160 proof, barreled at no more than 120, barreled at no less than 120, bottled at no less than 80, all that stuff. Corn whiskey is at least 50% corn and aged in used barrels, usually a significantly higher percentage of corn, like close to 100%. Vodka is any spirit distilled up to at least, I think, 182 proof, something like that, 184, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's like almost entirely alcohol when it gets distilled. So that's the differences. That's the difference between whiskey, rye, Scotch. Canadian whiskey comes from Canada. It's codified. It was originally codified by law in NAFTA, if I'm not mistaken. It's not codified in law and like written black letter law passed by Congress. It's codified by trade convention. Rice whiskey obviously is mostly rice. The best rice whiskeys, arguably, I would say, come from Texas because I'm from Texas. But traditionally, rice whiskeys come from Japan. And there's a specific process that goes to making the rice whiskey. They're made with koju that converts the starches to sugars. It's a very, very cool process. But that's for another day. And I've been practicing that process in my own distillery. And we'll talk about that another day as well. It tastes like Scotch. It really does. Rice whiskey tastes a lot like Scotch. So anyway, that's our whiskey topic for the night. If you got any other questions about that, we'll talk about those too. I saw Vanessa Kitty's in the house. Cheers, Vanessa Kitty. Let's catch up with chat. I don't want to just leave the chat to run for the entire show because I may never catch up to chat, especially since I got a lot to talk about. Whiskey Uncensored, I've got you on my phone. Shut up. Forgot about the stream. What? See, that's another thing. If I let it go too long, I lose the train of whatever we were talking about whenever, just let me know on the discount code. Oh yeah. I got your email. I got your hookup. I'll shoot that out, probably tomorrow. Also, cheers, Whiskey Uncensored. Cheers, Dustin. Lungs burning. Let me recommend starting with walking and building up 15,000 steps or something. Oh yeah. I've done that. I've done that. That's the distance isn't the problem. The distance isn't the problem. I can walk all day long. I can knock out 10 miles in a day. That's easy. The problem is the recovery after the fact. And getting into the habit and getting into the cycle of doing it day after day after day after day. I don't have any problem being on my feet. I have a problem recovering from being on my feet because I'm carrying around too much weight. I'm 5'11 and now I'm 250. I was 5'11 and 260. It's just too much. You know, the legs suffer, the knees suffer, the feet suffer. Everything suffers from just being heavy and walking around too much. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff I want to do and I just can't. And it just, anyway, all that matters is you're making progress. Right. And that's the whole thing. It's not about perfection. It's about, healthier. It's not about perfection. It's about the process. The process is iteration and improvement, which is why I told my lovely wife the first week of April, I was doing keto-ish, not keto. I was going down. I was probably going about 100 to 150, maybe 200 carbs, which was down from like 1,000. It's all about the progress. It's getting better and better and better each day, improving it, iterating. Practice makes improvement. Practice does not make perfect. Next, M&M Royals were mint chocolate. Oh, gross. No, fuck that. You can just stop there. Mint chocolate is vomit. It's gross. I hate mint chocolate. That's the worst chocolate. The only mint chocolate I like are Andes. Those little Andes mints. Those are the only ones that I like. Because my saint of a grandmother, Coralie Baker Hill. Coralie Hill Baker. Sorry, I reversed those names. Coralie Hill Baker, who we referred to lovingly as Money, always had a jar of those Andes mints, and I loved them. We could just eat those all day long. Oh, God. That's the only mint chocolate that I like. I take that back. That mint chocolate plus the Girl Scout mint chocolate cookies. Those are the only two mint chocolates that I like. Anyway. Light green chocolate shells. Totally different than mint M&Ms. No, I don't like mint chocolate. All right, that's now my change bell when I'm ready to go to the next comment. I'm probably going to get tired of this real fast. Coke is a weight loss drug. Not great for your heart health. If you just want to lose weight the fastest, doing something like 3 days no food, 4 days reasonable, plus walking consistently. I don't know if I could go 3 days no food. I don't know if I could go 72-hour fast. Complete no food. I mean, I live with people. They would hate me. Next. Advantage of gym with weightlifting is that you'll preserve muscle and weight loss will be more fat. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually doing weights instead of just cardio. That is a good point. I just don't like going to the gym. Plus, I've got the community clubhouse here has a weight room, or at least a workout room with weights, so I could go there, and it's free. Nothing wrong with mellow corn. I am going to not offer an opinion on that. I don't like it. Too bad. I'll offer an opinion on it. Cheers, Dustin. Glenn Scotch. The shots were not a shortcut, but the shots are not a shortcut, but they do change things. What were we talking about? The shots are not a shortcut. Oh, the shots, the weight loss shots. Yeah. I mean, they are kind of a shortcut. I mean, if it takes 6 months to lose, it took me a week to lose 10 pounds, but I assume I'm going to plateau at this point. But if it takes, if you can lose 50 pounds in like 2 months, that's a fucking shortcut, man. That is like the definition of a shortcut. Anyway, this t-shirt, $20. If we get $20 in super chats, 10 super chats at $2 a piece, we give away this. Sideways. We give away this t-shirt. Boom. Our Love You Blue, Old Humble Distilling Company t-shirt. Back to the chat. I have to take a quick intermission in some. The SWA is jerks. Oh, Scottish Whiskey Association. Bing. I don't know. It kind of seems like a lot of fun to have a bunch of Scottish lawyers on your lawn. Who's this? Jason? I haven't seen that name in a coon's age. That's a Southern expression, which I'm pretty sure is not racist. I'm pretty sure that's legal. I've seen the commercials. If you have an army of Scotsmen in your front lawn, you have impeccable grass. That is true. That is true. Scott and his army of Scotsmen means you have impeccable grass. Vanessa Kitty's in the house. Cheers, Vanessa Kitty. I like rye, made with rye. I agree with you 100%, Vanessa. Cheers to that. Are we there yet? We're almost caught up. We're going to talk about edgelords now. Commercial time. This is booking.com, hotels and travel. Yeah. There. I nailed that shit. Y'all should give me more money. JT Melick would like a word, but at least that's from next to Texas. Louisiana? JT Melick. You know, Balcones make some damn good single malt whiskeys. They make some damn good single malt whiskeys. In fact, world stage award-winning single malt whiskeys. They just can't call it Scotch. JT Melick is amazing and tastes like bourbon. Oh, okay. Doing a stream. Yes, I've not forgotten about the stream. I'm in. We just need to figure out how to do it. Do the stream with the live tasting and a special edition just for you and your people. Which we'll figure it out. The delivery aspect is the hard part to figuring out how to get it. Yeah. I'm working on it. I've got a notebook full of ideas and a page, at least a couple of pages. Certainly one page, at least a couple of pages dedicated to brainstorming this idea and we're trying to work it out. Next. So you build up to 15K. Yeah. I mean, the distances, like I said, the distances aren't a problem. I've got a shelf of trophies over here that show that I can go the distances. I'm not worried about that. And I miss being able to just do it. Just go out and do that shit. I just miss it. It's been a long time. Practice makes permanent. Yeah, I can see that. The muscle memory, the iteration, the repetition. The repetition. Practice makes permanent. That's why you practice it like you play it. You practice like it's real. If we could only keep one chocolate, it must be mint chocolate. Ugh. No. Ugh. Can you imagine mint chocolate and caramel? Mint chocolate and peanut butter? No. Eat a bag of dicks. That's just awful. 72-hour water fasting really makes you feel great. I do. I'm skeptical of that idea. That sounds a whole lot like saying, this turd tastes like chocolate. Try it. No, I'm not. I don't know about that. 72-hour water fasting. I'm not sure. But Ozempic just makes you eat less. Doesn't make you burn calories. I believe that is true. But I don't have Ozempic, so I don't know for sure. You won't lose like that. We're getting close to the end of chat. Now we can go talk about edgelords and why they're pieces of absolute shit. The way to lose like that is a liquid diet. Fasting, like I said, will drop the weight. Yeah, just consume my own fat. That's what I told my wife. Because here's what happens at lunchtime. I get busy and I forget to eat lunch. And then next thing I know, it's 2:00 and I'm running to the store to grab garbage. You run to Whataburger and you get a pile of a paper bag full of death. You run to Cane's. You run down the street and you get just garbage food that you shove down your gullet. Lately, I've been running into Kroger's to get real food. So I've got in my refrigerator at the shop a container of blackberries, a container of strawberries, a summer sausage, and a thing of cheese, and a box of almonds. That's not in the refrigerator, but I've got a thing of almonds. So my lunches at the distillery have been like just caveman shit. Berries, nuts, cheeses, sausage. I would literally commit the crime and sin of murder for a damn double cheeseburger and a Whopper. Of course, I can eat a double Whopper. I can eat a single Whopper, not a double Whopper. Double Whopper's too many calories, too much fat. But God, I miss French fries. Oh, French fries. Salty, yummy goodness. With the French fries. Anyway, where were we? What were we talking about? It's time to get on with it. The next thing. Reducing input, not increasing, but it's all about reducing the input, not increasing the fat loss. Oh, that's the next step. That's phase 2. Phase 2 to get all the indicators under control, and then start firing up the engines and like really burning shit down. All right, topic time. Next topic. Edgelords. All right, we all know these fucking people. You know what? Hang on. We're going to go to a quick intermission. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Occurs to me that when my computer crashed back a summer ago, that I lost my AdTwins ad. My AdTwins ad was on my old computer, and my old computer crashed, so I no longer have... Oh, I was going to change my shirt. Ah, damn it. Yeah, I'll do it in the next intermission. But I lost my AdTwins ad, and the AdTwins ad was a delight. It was a delightful ad, but it was also from, I want to say 2018, 2017. And I had the old labels of whiskey. Now I've got a whole fresh lineup of whiskeys, 4 labels, and our online shop that people can go online and buy the whiskey. So I think I'm going to contact my girls and have the AdTwins give me a new ad. I think it's time. What do y'all think? I think it's time. So let's talk about edgelords. Edgelord mode. All right, we all know these guys. We've interacted with these guys. These guys come on to chat. They come onto shows. They come onto the panels. They come onto the forums. They have pseudonyms. They won't give their real name. They won't even show their face. If they do show their face, they're in shadow. Can I do it? Can I do a shadow? No, I can't. I can't reach that light. So, well, yeah. I mean, I can do it like this, maybe. Like this. Hang on. How do I can't do it. I can't reach that light to do the shadow effect. So I can't like put myself in shadow and just have the backlight lit. But that's what they do. The shit that they do. Hang on. Let me see if I can activate edgelord mode properly. Activate edgelord mode. Oops. What the hell? There we go. Did that do it? Come in here like this. No, I got to turn this light off too. Yeah, they kind of do this, where they step back. Yeah, there you go. Proper edgelord mode activation. Like, I'm. Let me give me a proper edgelord name. I'm Lou Cipher. Hey, so I'm Lou Cipher. This is
This is the After Dark commentary of everything that sucks in the world, and everything that sucks in the world is like literally everything.
Ugh, God, these people. God, I hate these fucking people. Hang on, let me turn my lights back on. Oops. Boop. There we go. All right. They're the worst kind of human being. They're literally, and they're not even, well, hang on. Let's start from the fucking beginning. They are these sad little nihilistic pricks who grew up as little emo girls who don't believe in anything, or at least don't publicly believe in anything. And publicly is probably not the word for it, because they won't show their fucking face. So they're not really public about anything. They use a fake name. They won't show their face. They just think that they're being edgy and cool, and they won't take a stand on anything. They won't believe anything. They act like they don't care about anything, and they just shit on literally everything. And if you dare to show that you actually care and you have any passion about something, of course, they don't like that. That's lame. That's stupid and it's dumb, unless it's their stupid fucking anime shit that they give a shit about. They're the worst kind of human being, because they're not even legitimate. They're just acting like this stupid fucking persona that they're putting on. It's an act. And then they go back and they pet their little baby kittens, and they love on their wives and their daughters and their girlfriends and their sons and their boyfriends and whatever the hell else they do on their spare time. I don't care. But only on the internet, only in forums, they think that being a troll is clever and funny and edgy. And sometimes, if, they're actually clever and funny and edgy, it's well done. But the vast majority of these dipshit losers are not comedy writers. They're not good at what they do. They're bad at what they do, and they just dissolve into a bad parody of the comic insult dog. And their point is to not have a point. They're the dipshit turd sacks out there who deny the earth is round just because they think it's edgy and they think it's cool, and they don't want to give legitimacy to the government. Like the government's the ones that make the earth round. Ugh, God, these fucking idiots. Anyway, I need to get that off my chest. And you've all encountered these people. You know these people. You've probably been on a panel with these people if you've ever been on a panel. You know them. You know them by name. You know them by sight. You know their voice. And you know that they're full of shit. And here's the thing. Before the pandemic, that kind of shtick was kind of cool. But after the pandemic, that shtick wasn't cool anymore. Partly because they were the pieces of shit that were going around talking about how the vaccines don't do anything. They were among the 600 or so people that caused most of the fucking problems during the pandemic. They're the dipshit pieces of human trash that are out there trying to be like Glenn Beck, trying to be like Alex Jones, trying to be like these actual well-written personas of people, even though, to be completely fair, Alex Jones, I don't think is a persona. I think Alex Jones is actually a terrible person. Glenn Beck at least admits that the clown show he puts on is a whole fucking persona, and that the idiots that follow him are idiots. These are words that Glenn Beck has used. He puts on a clown show. Alex Jones, I think, actually believes the dumb shit that Alex Jones says. And if normal human beings tried to do what Alex Jones does, well, they would get the Alex Jones treatment. They would get completely ruined and destroyed, except they're just small little garbage people. So what they would lose is everything, and they don't have the resources to recover what they lose, because they're garbage human beings. So anyway, where was I talking about?
They're the garbage human beings that are out there denying that 9/11 happened. They're the garbage human beings out there saying that the people at Sandy Hook were crisis actors. They're just absolute garbage human beings that don't care about anything, or at least act like they don't care about anything, and then wander around wondering why everybody thinks they're a piece of shit. It's because they're pieces of shit. And they think that being an edgelord is clever and edgy and funny, and that they're being provocative, and that they're making people think, and that they're just asking questions, but they're not. They're making people think that they're stupid assholes because they are stupid assholes. Anyway, edgelords are the problem, is what the whole point of this was. And now we go back to chat, because I want to find out because I know you people have interacted with these assholes. I know you people have talked to these assholes. I know you people, some of you regularly interact with some of these assholes. And do not be mistaken. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. Those people are assholes. They're absolute pieces of anthropomorphized human shit. Anyway, on back to chat. Where are we? Melica's Louisiana. Rice whiskey. Quite great. Yeah, I mean, rice whiskey's good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Rice whiskey's good stuff. I like rice whiskey. It's actually harder to find rice whiskey than it should be. But especially in East Texas, we should have rice whiskey all over the place, because that's where that's where most of the rice in the United States comes from. East Texas and Louisiana. Blinders full of worn ideas. Blinders full of, is that an RN or one? Oh, okay. Next. 20-day water fast was pretty. 20-day water fast. Jesus Christ. No. I don't know. I've never tried it. I've gone 48 hours. I think I've gone 72 hours without food, and I'm an insufferable prick when I go when I don't eat, when I skip a couple of meals. I know I don't feel good when I skip a couple of meals, but recently I was getting the flu. Yeah, when I got the flu in January, I lost 5 pounds. At least 5 pounds, maybe 10. But I lost a net 5 pounds. I lost 10 and got 5 back. That's what it was. Next. Had a buddy in hospital after car crash. I bet he did. Hospital food is a great way to lose weight. It is a great way to lose weight. I've had those twins on Plenty of Lives. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's a recording of a recording, and it's not the same as the original recording. I'm 90% sure I have it on one of my SIM cards. One of these things. Not that. That's a floppy disk. Or not, that's not a floppy disk. That's a where's my SIM cards at? Oh, I'm pretty sure I have it on one of these guys. But I have these things laying around all over the place. I've just got to find the one that I've got it on. So, yeah. Take advantage of your web store before it gets too hot to ship liquor. Oh, yeah, good point. Because in the summertime, the boxes are insulated, from what I understand, because of the padding insulates the whiskey, so you don't have to worry about that. It'd be good. Oh, and you know what? Just for you guys, use coupon code MAKEIT2 for free shipping on 2 bottles. I'm going to pin that Pin that message. We have 0 super chats, so we're probably not giving away this T-shirt, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. I don't like shipping stuff anyway. Just had to Google edgelord. That's a good Google. It is nothing perverted. No, nothing sexy about edgelords. They are the lamest pieces of human garbage on the planet. Because I said you got called edgelord because you said some scotch was overrated. I'm not going to pronounce that because I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read it as closely as I would like to be able to pronounce it. Alex Jones looks like the kind of guy that would believe the shit Alex Jones says. He does. He does look like the kind of guy who would believe the shit that Alex Jones says. God, he is the absolute fucking worst. He lives in Austin. He moved to Austin. He lives in Austin. He does his stupid show out of Austin now. He's an absolute piece of human shit. God, I hate him. All this negativity, I'm just here looking at my new watch strap. It's not negativity. Stating simply that edgelords are garbage human beings is not negativity. That's a fact. That's like, saying that DeLoreans are cool. It is. It just is. They are cool. That's it. It's not negativity. It's just stating a fact. I just had to get that little rant off my chest. It felt good. During the C word, you went from 265, 277 in about 3 months to 220. What? You dropped 50 pounds in 3 months. Like water. Yeah, see, I went the other direction. I went from 215 to 260 in about 3 months. I caught the COVID 45. So yeah, it sucked. I mean, we did the worst stuff. We just sat and watched movies all day, and man, we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. I didn't want to be around people. I still don't like being around people. Works. I just hated that I lost about as much muscle as fat. Interesting. So chat died during my little rant. So let's go on to the next thing. Why do people think, next topic, why do people think Jack and Crown are good whiskeys? So, I mean, they're iconic brands. Don't get me wrong. I lied. I said that was going to be my only drink. I'm going to have one more drink. But it's going to be a single shot, not a... Well, I think the first one was a single shot. It just had a lot of ice. Old Humble Distilling Company's Double Oak Rye, sponsor of the show tonight. Our Double Oak Rye, 95% rye, aged with extra oak staves in the barrel to give it a more mature, balanced finish than your typical 2.5-year rye. Get it at stores near you or order it online, oldhumbledistilling.com. What are the prices online, Old Humble Guy? That's a great question. That is a great question. I can answer that question with an image from my computer. I go to the download screen. Downloads. And I've got one that says bottle prices. Oh, look at there. There's our bottle prices. The bourbon is $49.99. There we go. Put that right up there in the upper right-hand corner. The bourbon is $49.99. The rye is $37.99. The special reserve is $38.99, and the straight whiskey is $31.99. All delivered to your door. Order 2 of them. You get free shipping with the coupon code MAKEIT2. It says it right there in the pinned comment at the top of chat. OldHumbleDistilling.com. 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 There you go. Delivered to your door from Longhorn Liquor in Austin, Texas. And that's that. Now on with the Shure. Oh, I just had an ad. I didn't see who that was. So just so you know, the bourbon rings up originally at $60, but the $11 discount is added in at a checkout. So it knocks it down to $49.99. So there you go. The bourbon is $49.99 for a bottle. So I strongly suggest getting a bottle of bourbon and a bottle of rye. The bottle of bourbon, bottle of special reserve, bottle of rye, bottle of special reserve, or bottle of special reserve. See, the special reserve and straight whiskey together, they kind of have a similar flavor. If you want a variety of flavor, go with the rye and straight whiskey. If you want some very mature, the rye contrasts really well with the straight whiskey. The bourbon and special reserve also contrast well together, to each other. I like the bourbon and rye myself. Those are my two favorites. But none of those are a bad pull. All four of those are great whiskeys. So, and of course, I'm the one making it. So, of course, I'm going to say it's great whiskey, but you don't have to fucking take my word for it. If it's a bad bottle of whiskey, if you don't like it, if you're like, this bourbon is crap, send me an email, send me back the unfinished portion of the bottle. I will replace that bottle with 2 other bottles from our inventory. All you got to do is pay for shipping. That's it. All you got to do is pay for shipping, and I will replace that bottle. Let's say you buy the rye, and you're like, this rye, it's awful. It's the worst. Like, okay, no problem. I will make it right. That is the Old Humble guarantee. It's on the page. There's a button for the Old Humble guarantee that is on that page, on the shop online page. If you are unsatisfied, I will make it right. Period. We'll make it right. That's what we do. That's the Old Humble guarantee. That is the Old Humble guarantee. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to roll that whole thing out in a month or so. But yeah, the biggest challenge with trying a new brand is not knowing if you're going to like it. Well, if you won't, and if you don't like it, you're stuck with a bottle. You're out $40 and you're stuck with a bottle of whiskey. $60 because of shipping. And you're stuck with a bottle of whiskey that you don't like. What are you going to do with that? Well, send it back to me and I will send you a fresh bottle. There you go. All you got to do is pay for shipping. The Old Humble guarantee. All right, so on to what's the last one? Oh, Crown and Jack. Crown and Jack, Crown and Jack, Crown and Jack, Crown and Jack, Crown and Jack. All right. So here's the thing about Crown and Jack. They are iconic brands, right? So at this stage of their development, of this stage of their branding, at this stage of their product life cycle, they're not selling whiskey anymore. They're merchandise. They are selling a brand. They're selling an icon. They're selling an idea. And a lot of people think that Jack and Crown are good because they're 19 and they haven't had any other whiskeys in their entire life. Or they're 35 and they've never had another whiskey in their entire life, which is also possible. They've drank Crown and Jack all their life, and all they drink is Crown and Jack. And also, they don't drink Crown and Jack. They drink Crown and Coke, or Jack and Coke, or Jack and Diet Coke, or Jack and Sprite, or Crown and Sprite, or Crown and Cola, which would be Crown and Dr. Pepper, Crown and RC. They drink Crown and soda, Crown, something and. Never, ever, 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 ever have I run, when I'm doing my tastings, and I've done thousands of these things. I was about to say never. I will qualify that with rarely, if ever, have I run into somebody who says they like Crown and doesn't answer the next question with Coke. Because the next question is, what do you mix it with? Because it's a fair assumption when somebody says they like that product, Crown or Jack, or even Jim Beam. That's another one. What do you mix it with? Coke. Do you ever drink it straight? Nope. So it's a safe bet to say that they don't drink it because they like the taste of it. They drink it because they like Coke, and they like Coke with a little whiskey in it. And when you put whiskey in a Coke, it can be any whiskey. But you're not, if you're just pouring it in Coke, it's the same rule as vodka. If you're pouring it in a punch, you're not buying premium vodka. You don't pay a premium for taste if you're just pouring it in punch. Right? And historically we could talk about the relationship between Crown whiskey and Coke and whiskey old fashions later, but that's not something to talk about tonight. That's an entirely different topic. But rarely, if ever, have I run into this. So why then do they think that this is good? I don't know if I have a good answer to that question. It's very psychological. My great grandfather drank Jack, and my great grandfather drank Jack, and my grandfather drank Jack, and my father drank Jack, and we just drink Jack. Well, like, you're not bound by the mistakes of your ancestors. You can choose a better option. You can choose a better path. You don't have to be the mistakes that they made. You can make your own mistakes, my friends. That's the whole point, right? That we go out and we make our own mistakes. That we mix the Clorox and ammonia because we don't know any better. Don't do that, by the way. That's poison. That will kill you. That's literally chemical warfare if you do that. Don't do that. It's like banned by the Geneva Convention. Don't do that. Bad. But we don't have to make those mistakes. We don't have to be bound by, when you were 18, you were bound by what was in your parents' liquor cabinet. But now you can build your own liquor cabinet. I don't think I've had a bottle of that stuff. Oh, my dog just entered into my office because I did not close my door enough. And there's a better than even chance that he's going to knock over one of my lights. What's up, pup? Hey, buddy. You know what? There's a thing that I can do tonight. You need a bath. Are you going to lay down? All right, this is what we're going to do. Check this out. Oh, looks like my computer... Looks like my camera froze here. I can fix that. There, we're back. All right. This is something we can do. I can all right. I'm going to hang on. Before we do this, let's catch up chat. Boom. That's all I have to say about that. I don't know why people think that shit's good, because it's garbage water. It's absolute garbage water. On we go. So I try to avoid... What? Oh, here we go. Regarding summer shipping... Had a few issues with corks working their way out about. Oh, yeah, that'll do that. That will do that. Corks will work their way out of bottles when it gets hot. That is true. Understood. Understandable. Cork popping is actually really bad. It's terrible. You feeling any of the bourbon boom slowdown yet? Yes. You're still small enough to keep on keeping on. So here's the thing. The market is fickle. And a lot of what happens at the Buffalo Trace level doesn't happen at the Old Humble level. So we've got a lot of room to grow still. We haven't saturated our market. We haven't reached our market product fit. Whatever the marketing term, business school term you want to use is, we're not there yet. We're still growing, and we still have a lot of room to grow, especially in our local market where we have 100 and something thousand people that need to be reached. We have miles to grow still, even online. We've shipped to, I want to say 11 states online out of the 46 that we're able to ship to. And I've kind of pulled back on the online shipping to focus on the tasting room and getting into local stores. There's something like 50 stores in a 10-mile radius of my distillery that don't carry our whiskey. So that's 50 cases, 25 cases of whiskey that I can sell. We are far from the place where if the market slowed down, we follow the market. We can buck the market trend just by going out and doing the work and going door to door and knocking on liquor store doors and talking to liquor stores and just getting a few bottles here and a few bottles there and getting a little bit more market penetration that way. Including the people coming to the distillery, doing our Friday night date nights, doing our Saturday afternoon hangs. We've got a long ways to go. Where I'm going to run into problems is getting our whiskey in markets outside of Texas because of the reputation that Texas has. It's kind of like American whiskey in Canada. Texas is the United States to the United States is Canada. So getting on the shelves may not be so much of a challenge, but getting off the shelves and into homes may be a greater challenge. And that's part of what I'm using the website to do is penetrate my way into those markets. And then I can go back to the stores and say, look, we've made this many sales over the course of the last 12 months. In your market, let's break into this market and really do some work there. But I do have a couple of markets targeted. Florida and Oklahoma are high on the list right now. Germany was a big boost. I'm hoping that Germany won't have the same market reaction to American whiskey that Canada is having right now. Canada was kind of on my long list of places to get to, but now it's kind of like, I don't know if I can ever get into Canada. I mean, at some point in the future, maybe it's possible. But as far as the bourbon bust and bourbon boom goes, we're still in a booming situation. We are still growing in our market. We're still growing. We're experiencing growth in our market. We're still increasing our penetration. If I had more staff, I could do it faster. But I think also if I had more staff, I would burn through cash faster while we're reaching that point of product market fix. So yeah, we're not experiencing the negative aspects of what's going on in the economy yet. I am experiencing negative aspects of being able to get loans, cash financing, just investment in general is a challenge. It's driving me absolutely bonkers. But it's workable. It's doable. We're working it all out. Next. Thanks for that question. That's a good question. I appreciate that. Also, for small craft, those prices are pretty reasonable. Thank you. Thank you very much. I try to make it so that you feel like you're robbing me. It's hard to compete against corporations that can literally produce their stuff for $0, and all they're paying for is the machinery, equipment, and personnel. But we do what we can, and we got to be scrappy. We got to be a little bit. We got to be scrappy. We got to be creative, and we got to be infiltrative as far as how we do what we do. And I'm kind of thinking of a strategy that's very much similar to passing out flyers at somebody else's concert for your own band at your to get people to come to your concert. That's the next night or later that same night. But That may be kind of what we have to do. Because here's the thing. When you talk about influencers and whiskey reviewers, they don't want to review a craft whiskey that's not widely available. They want to interview stuff that everybody can get their hands on. So they walk around with the allocated whiskey circle jerk, and they act like the factory bourbons are hard to get their hands on. So they go whiskey hunting for Buffalo Trace and Willet and all this other factory shit where they pump out thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of whiskey a day and allocate hundreds and hundreds of bottles to various markets in order to create a false sense of scarcity. And basically all you're doing is buying factory whiskey with a magic label. It's not anything rare. It's not anything special. But while these people are looking for their magic labels, they're walking past truly rare, truly special labels and whiskeys that they've never heard of from independent producers in their own state. They'll drive past independent breweries and independent distilleries in order to go to liquor stores to hunt for Buffalo Trace. And it doesn't make any fucking sense. They'll fall all over themselves in the Brown-Forman circle jerk trying to get a Jack Daniels bottle that's a 15-year Jack Daniels or whatever the fuck bullshit fake premium stuff that they're trying to sell is being labeled as. But it's still just Jack Daniels. It's a donkey with zebra stripes. It's nothing special. It's just Jack Daniels. And they're all like, oh, we're gaming Jack. No, it's just fucking Jack Daniels. It comes out of a factory that looks like every single refinery in Pasadena. They pump out trillions of gallons of this shit. And then they slap a magic label on some of it, and everybody's like, oh my God, $50 for Jack Daniels. I can't get 6 of them. No, you don't. Ugh. Meanwhile, they drive past family distilleries and local distilleries and regional distilleries just to get the factory garbage at some podunk little liquor store that was forced to buy 3 cases of it in order to get anything else. And of course, that liquor store is going to jack the price up to $75 or $80 because that's where their profit's going to come from. But no, it's not special. It's not unusual. It's not anything remarkable. It's just Jack Daniels with a magic label. I'm sure maybe they sat on it for a few extra years, but that didn't make it good. That just made it shitty whiskey that gets aged well. You can do that with a $120 barrel that you get from Amazon and pour 5 bottles into that $125 barrel. And then you can take your 5 bottles of shitty whiskey and turn it into well-aged shitty whiskey and get the same goddamn thing you got from Jack Daniel's 15-year bottle. You just got it done in a month. But it doesn't make it good. It just makes it well-aged. You just get a donkey with zebra stripes. That's it. A sad little drive-through zoo on the side of the freeway in the middle of nowhere with zebras. But they're not zebras. They're donkeys. And gee, that giraffe has a short neck. Oh, because it's actually a donkey with giraffe stripes on it. It's nothing special. But, part of the fun is the hunt. Just like part of the fun in making clear ice is the process of making clear ice. It doesn't do anything for your whiskey. It's all about presentation. Part of the fun is in the hunt. Part of the fun is going to liquor stores. Part of the fun is seeing the different labels. I get that. I understand it. But for God's sakes, you're old men. You're not flexible enough to suck your own dick. Please quit doing it. It's embarrassing for everybody. But I do like it when the channels go out and get their, actually go out and find unique and unusual stuff like Left Turn Distilling in Albuquerque or McNeely Families in Louisville or Black Rock Distilling in South Dakota or Badlands Distilling in South Dakota or I mean, there's so many local distilleries. I mean, the renaissance of local distilling that happened over the last 15 years is just remarkable. And that's where the magic is happening. Not in the maxi distilling. These guys are experiencing the slowdown. These guys experiencing the boom and bust. These guys are the ones that are freaking out because they overproduced. And now, they're not going to be able to sell Old Forester for $30 anymore. They're going to have to cut the price back down to 22 or whatever because they have so much in inventory. The craft distilling guys, this is where the actual renaissance is. This is where you're getting interesting flavors and unique everything because you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of iterations and variations on a theme where the flavor from the Gulf Coast of Texas to the highlands of Texas, from the mountains in Colorado to the flatlands of Colorado, from the Badlands in South Dakota to the flatlands of Nebraska and Kansas, where you just get interesting and different aging processes and distilling processes and grains that are getting used. That's where the renaissance is happening, and that's where all the good whiskey is. Oh shit, I talk with my hands. I probably shouldn't do that while I have whiskey in them. But that's where the renaissance is happening. That's where the renaissance has always happened, with craft breweries and craft distilleries and local kitchens and small town chefs. And this is where, that's where the magic always happens. You don't get innovation from Cisco or Aramark. You get innovation from Nan's Fajita Shop. You get innovation from Moe's Potato Truck, where they're making new and unusual dishes of potatoes. You get innovation from the local bougie cocktail bar, where the bartender's like just has free reign to make new and different cocktails. Yes, he has sleeve tattoos. Yes, he has a man bun. Yes, he wears a vest. Yes, he is a fucking caricature. But he's also an artist. I hate saying that out loud. God, he's an artist, but he is, and he's free to make his weird edamame margaritas, which is garbage. Don't get me wrong. When I want a margarita, I want a margarita. I don't want your fucking radish margarita or whatever twist on a margarita you're making. That's not great. But that's one of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of experiments that happen on any given night in cocktail bars across the country. And most of those are going to be garbage. I mean, history is littered with failed evolutionary experiments. We don't ever hear about them because you don't want to know about a toad with two buttholes. Those die off because it's just too many buttholes. But sometimes it works. Sometimes it's a cool thing. And then you get those cool toads with the psychedelic poison, and you can get all stoned on toads. So, evolution works. That's what you want. That's where the innovation happens. Oh, here we go. Text now, call, text unlimited. That's the third ad they've had for me on my show. Very good. Very good for them. So yeah, support local distilleries, shop small, shop local, support local distilleries, and say no to factory whiskeys. That's all I got to say about that. Also, don't forget, 10 super chats of at least $2, and we give away a shirt. This shirt, we raise $20 in super chats. I will give away this t-shirt. Our Love You Blue, Columbia Blue is the actual color. Columbia Blue, the same color of the Houston Oilers, not ever the Tennessee Titans. Columbia Blue, Houston Oilers. The Tennessee Titans have another color. I think it's called fucking stupid football club in Tennessee. Anyway, I hate Tennessee Titans more than I love football. Yeah. And I love baseball. I love baseball more than anything. Anyway, back to the show. That was a fun little sideline rant. Next, I'm neck deep in craft ryes lately. Probably going to go that direction. Good for you, Jason. That's a smart move. And this is way better than a typical typical rye. I will reiterate that fact. Your average rye, aged 2 or 3 years. This is aged with extra oak staves to give it that darker color than your typical 2.5-year rye. It gives it a deep, rich flavor, a well-balanced, mature finish. And again, 2 bottles, free shipping on Make It. Use that coupon code MAKEIT2 that's over, well, on my screen. It's over there in chat. For y'all, it might be down below, or that I'm not sure where y'all's chat is. But it's pinned to the top of chat. 2 bottles, Make It 2, free shipping. Jason bought a bottle of Crown Royal on purpose. I bought a bottle of Crown Royal on purpose for a party, and I left at the party because I didn't want it in my house. But I'm also almost 50, so it was probably 25 years ago. Crown Royal neat? You know people do Crown Royal neat. Do they hate themselves? Do they also self-flagellate? Are they that weird Catholic sect that flogs themselves at night? Weird. Jack really does. That is true. Jack does go well with Coke, but nobody drinks Jack. They drink Jack and Coke. That's why people don't like Jack. They drink Jack and Coke. I said we were going to do something. I am going to do something. I'm going to catch up on chat. Then we're going to do something. They're not the same. No, they're not. Kind of gives you a mix of cherry Coke and Dr. Pepper with the Jack. Yep. And we actually do a vanilla cherry old fashioned and a chocolate blackberry old fashioned at the distillery. And I'm trying to figure out how to do the flavor without flavoring the whiskey, because it's infused whiskeys right now. But I could probably just infuse the simple syrup with the blackberry and cherry. In fact, I think that's probably what we're going to do. In fact, they probably have blackberry simple syrup, come to think of it. Anyway, on we go. With a bit of alcohol bite, right? You're still small enough that macro market forces aren't your limitation. Exactly. With a little bit of hustle, if we have staff, I mean, knocking on doors is how we short circuit the macro market. We can keep fighting under the current. It's the finance part, making sure we have enough money to make it to the next at bat, make it to the next month, get the supplies that we need, get the bottles that we need, get the corks that we need, all that stuff. We're always scraping by from crisis to crisis to crisis to crisis. But we're working on that. This is our breakout year. Things have already moved in the direction to make this a really fantastic year. And hopefully it's the last year that we go fighting from crisis to crisis. Thank you for noticing. Makes sense. Onward. The after party flyer vibe. Yes. Yeah. And I shit you not, I am working on doing that in real life. Well, in virtual life on the YouTubes. You'll probably see the effects of this in the next couple of weeks, but I don't want to say much more than that. But we're working on it. We're working on it. It's going to be really cool. I may, if that's all. I'm not going to say anything else. Some corporate strategies have to stay quiet. For smaller brands, as demand goes down, some stores cut. Yeah, that's exactly right. The stores cut back space on the shelves because demand goes down, and they focus on what sells. They don't want stuff that doesn't move in volume, so they cut back on the low volume products. What's a low volume product? A craft whiskey. There's a lot of stores. I mean, Jesus Christ, going to a bar to try and introduce my whiskey to a bar when the bartender is not a bartender, but a drink server. When your bartender is a drink server, they don't sell anything. They pull a lever and make beer happen and hand you a beer. If you ask them to make you an old fashioned, they get these big doe eyes and freak out because they don't know how to make any cocktails. They don't know how to do anything. Jesus, they do a whiskey sour and they spray Sprite into a whiskey out of their stupid gun because that's all they know how to do. They don't know how to make a whiskey sour. So they stock Jack and Crown because that's what people order. and they don't think and they don't try and they don't, that bar full of bottles that's behind them, that's mostly for show. Nobody buys those bottles. Nobody orders those bottles. Very rarely does anybody order those bottles. I mean, I've been in bars where I'm the only person who, well, like, they pulled the Woodford Reserve off the shelf and had to wipe the dust off the bottle. Because nobody orders the Woodford Reserve. It's almost always a full bottle when you go into the bar. Unless you've been to that bar before, and then it's, a half bottle. So, yes, that's exactly what stores do. When things slow down, the smaller brands suffer because they focus on the things that sell. I mean, the liquor stores, they don't want dead inventory. They don't want dead space on their shelves. So for a small brand that has a retail footprint that's outside of its reach, that becomes a big challenge, because then you lose stores because you can't get to all the stores to service them. So it kind of helps to right size, but at the same time, that retail coverage, that space in the market, that helps. That's like a billboard for you. It's kind of a chicken and the egg thing. You need the volume to get more stores, but in order to get more volume, you need more stores. So what do? You focus on your tasting room strategy, and you build your tasting room strategy up so that people come in, you tell your story in the tasting room, they go back out, they look for it in stores. They buy it in stores, then you start getting the traffic in stores because you've done your work on the tasting room strategy at home. That's how it works. Our tasting rooms kind of keep us afloat if we're doing our tasting rooms right. And for most of my existence, I didn't have a tasting room, so I wasn't doing my tasting room right at all because I wasn't doing a tasting room. But now I have one, and I'm working on trying to get that done right. So it's an entire 270-degree shift in strategy, trying to figure out what it is to do to get the tasting room to pay for rent, so that then I can focus on the distillery work. It's a big challenge. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of unexpected. It's a complicated system, and it's a lot of unexpected side streets that you have to kind of wander down in order to get things to work. Yes, 14-year-old bourbon is kind of rare. We don't do 14-year-old bourbons oftentimes in the United States, because 14 years in the United States it kind of peaks out around 7 or 8 in the United States. 14 doesn't give it a whole lot more benefit. You've gotten most of the flavor out of the barrels in 7 or 8 years in the United States. Scotland, that's different. Onward. But still, it's still just Jack. It's just Jack. It's not even a special whiskey. It's just Jack. Anyway. Now, my whiskey, my bourbon, I've never held my bourbon for 2 years before in a 5-gallon barrel. I've never held it for 2 years in a 5-gallon barrel. So my straight bourbon, my longer aged straight bourbon, that would be something different, because it's actually a good whiskey to start with. It's not a donkey with racing stripes. It's an actual racing horse. Or it's either an actual zebra or an actual horse, whichever direction you want to go with the analogy. Next. I haven't had Old Jack. You are correct. And I don't have to. No. There's a whole lot of things I haven't done to know that I don't need to do them. Without going into detail of all of them. But still. Yeah. I can't I'm willing to taste it. I'm willing to be convinced. I'm willing to argue differently. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a Volkswagen with a nice engine. It's still a Volkswagen. VW Bug with a supercharged engine is still just a VW Bug. So, I'm sure they can make it taste good. And I'm sure Gentleman Jack is a smoother version of Old Number 7. And I'm sure their 14 is a well-aged version of Number 7. But Yeah, we're still talking about Jack. It's still Jack. I Anyway, I'll never see the age stated stuff. Yeah, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. It's gonna roll out. It's not rare. It's, eventually they'll get it to whatever market is that needs to be done. Yes. Thank you, Dustin, thank you for saying it, because I would say the same damn thing. Yes. Uh, Everything less small distilleries go bankrupt, disappointing. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of distilleries, just the general life cycle of a small distillery. The fact that we've been around for 12 years, like we were one of the OG distilleries that came out in the Texas market when they changed the laws back in 2012 to make it better for distilleries to exist in the state of Texas. The fact that we've been around for 12 years is remarkable all by itself, because most distilleries track the specific life cycle where they get a big fat loan, $250,000, $350,000, $400,000, whatever it is. They produce a lot of product because they think that their job is to produce whiskey and make whiskey. They spend a lot of money on their build out and a lot of money on their tasting room and a lot of money on their product and a lot of money on their bottles and a lot of money on their labels, and they hire a sales team. And like all of this, like in your head, when every time I say one of these things that they do, that's money out the door. That's a check that's being written. That's money out the door. And then when they run out of money, they don't have a market. They don't have a fan base. They don't have a client list. They don't have a bunch of stores. They've gotten into one chain, and they haven't done the work to sell their whiskey. They haven't done their work to build the brand. They haven't done their work to bring people into their tasting room. They haven't done the work to build an actual business and an actual brand and an actual following. And then when they run out of money, they're bankrupt. They're done. They have a 6-year note or a 5-year note. They burn through their money in about 3 years, and then they go out of business. That's it. They're done. They've got a bunch of product, but they're done. And now the owners have to go back to work in order to pay off the loan, or they go bankrupt and walk away from the loan. One of those two things happen. I don't know how their end game works, but half the time they can find a new buyer who comes in and buys the balance of the loan and kind of takes over the business. And then they limp their way along. I've seen it with breweries. I've seen it with distilleries. I've seen it with restaurants. I've seen it with all kinds of businesses. They produce a bunch of stuff, but what they don't produce is sales. And you've got to sell the product. Your job is not to produce whiskey. Your job is to sell whiskey. And arguably, your job isn't even to sell whiskey. Your job is to sell the idea of the brand of the whiskey that you're producing. Yeah, I can tick off like 6, just in the Houston area in the last 3 years. The pandemic shut down a bunch of little breweries and distilleries in the area as well. That did not help, at all. Next, Westland. So I'm double thinking. That's one I've never heard of, but yeah, I mean, if you don't get to a point where you're big enough to get bought by somebody and you're not making money, you're going out of business in about 3 years. I love my bourbon. 12 to 18 years old. Really? 12 to 18-year-old bourbons. Okay. Yeah, I mean, most places don't make 12 to 18-year-old bourbons because in the United States, 12 to 18-year-old bourbon, I mean, Jesus, to make 12 to 18-year-old bourbon, you got to go up to like Maine. Because in Kentucky, 12 to 18 years is like 25 years in Scotland. 25 to almost, yeah, like 25 years in Scotland. I mean, that's a long age. And most of them, I mean, you can get a mostly mature bourbon in like 7 or 8 years. You get a mostly mature bourbon in 5 or 6. You get a well-aged, very mature bourbon in 8 years. I mean, Jesus, you're going 12 to 18 years. You're talking about a very long in the tooth bourbon at that point. Very long in the tooth. And yeah, Texas, yeah, all of those numbers get cut by 60% in Texas. So it's, 2/3 of all of that. So 18 years would be like 9 years in Texas, especially on the Gulf Coast. I'm speaking for the Gulf Coast. It's close to the same in like the Dallas and Hill Country area. They're like 9 months to, Gulf Coast like 10 months to Kentucky 6. And the Hill Country and lakes and plains up there around Dallas is more like 9 to Kentucky's 6. So, yeah. Versus Scotland's like 4 months of good aging time. Anyway, onward. Isn't a VW bug with a new engine a 911? No, it's still a VW bug. 911s have different engineering. But yeah, very close. Very clever. 911s have different engine. They have stiffeners in the frame because, you put that engine in there, the frame will warp and all that stuff. 911s have different engineering. It's a different car. But yeah, you're kind of on the same path there. Yeah. And that's kind of the point, though. But that's also kind of the point. Like, you can't just take out the engine and put in a different engine. It's still just a VW. You've got to do all the other stuff to make it a better car. Which is why those little baby barrels are cool. The little 1 liter, 1.5 liter barrels you can get for like $60 on Amazon. Those are cool. They're cool little barrels. You pour 2 bottles into it and 3 months, not even 3 months, like 3 weeks later, you have a richer, darker flavored bourbon. That's kind of cool. But if you start off with garbage, you end up with well-aged garbage. It's like putting A1 sauce on a well-done steak. You just have a ruined steak with A1 sauce. Yeah, I said it. Well-done steaks are ruined steaks. I said it. I don't have any problem sticking with it. Bitch. It's rare enough if it doesn't come to Kansas enough. Oh, that's fair. I am spoiled that I live in one of the largest metro areas in the country. Houston gets a lot of stuff that they don't normally get in, south of Nowheresville, East Wapakontucken, whatever. One stoplight town that people live in across the country. But where most people live, that's not true. If you live in Kansas, you do not live close to a major metro area. You live close to metro areas, but not major metro areas. So I am a little bit spoiled. I will admit that. I'm a lot bit spoiled because Houston gets everything. Houston, Dallas, probably the San Antonio, Austin metro area, LA, Chicago, New York, Miami. Those major markets probably get more of the whiskey than y'all get up in Bronson, Kansas. Or are you going to lay down or are you going to stand there? My dog's back in here. What are you doing? What's up? Hey, chill out, buddy. Lay down. Come on, lay down. Relax. Come on. Lay down. Lay down, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Wally, the distillery dog, is chilling. He's my sweet boy. He's my sweet buddy. Okay, onward. Yeah, I'll admit, I'm very spoiled when it comes to whiskey and allocations. I mean, they probably allocate more whiskey to the state of Texas than I make in a year. Texas probably gets a fifth of their allocation, maybe a sixth of the allocation of these major distilleries, and like the rest of the country outside of the major metros, like Texas, LA, New York City, Chicago, Miami. Well, Texas probably gets 2 6 because we have Houston and Dallas. So the rest of the country, once you split up in those 6th, the rest of the country probably gets 2 more. So that's what, 8th? Yeah, that'd be 8th. So the rest of the country probably gets a quarter of all of their allocation. And the other 3/4 of the allocation go to like 6 markets. So, yeah, I'm spoiled. I admit it. But you could always order premium, special, hard to get whiskey by just going to oldhumbledistilling.com and using coupon code MAKEIT2 means you can get 2 bottles shipped right to your door. 2 bottles shipped to your door for 0 shipping. Just go to oldhumbledistilling.com for truly special, truly rare, truly hard to find whiskeys. oldhumbledistilling.com. Your source for true special whiskey. Say no to factory whiskey. Say yes to craft bourbon. I got that pitch down, baby. There's only 225,000. I meant there's only 200 aging over 7 years old. Okay, so yeah. But rare enough, we can't get it. I get that. I get it. By 25 plus year old Scotch show too. Yep. I love bourbon. They're just things that don't happen in the casket to 12 that don't happen before 10 to 12. Huh. Things that happen in the casket 10 to 12 years that don't happen before 10 to 12 years. Well, yeah, because it's saturating deeper and deeper into the wood, I suppose. Interesting. Something to explore is what exactly is happening over the course of the life of the bourbon in the barrel. And I could probably do that just by taking some barrel staves, cutting a barrel in half, basically, or slicing a cross section out of a barrel and putting 2 acrylic sheets on either side of the barrel so that you can actually see what's happening to the wood as it ages over time. And I could do that with a small barrel. I don't have to do that with a full size 50-gallon barrel. I can do it with a 1 liter or one of those 750 mil barrels. One of those little bitty teeny tiny baby barrels. And just cut it, seal it into the acrylic, so then you can see what the whiskey is doing to the barrel over its lifespan. That would be a cool display to have at the distillery. Maybe even record it in a time lapse. Take a picture every day, have 2 of them set up, take a picture of it every day, and then stitch the pictures together into a time lapse. Because that would really only take about 3 or 4 months. 6 months in a 1 liter barrel would be equivalent to about 10 years in a 50-gallon barrel. That's something to consider. And I have a camera that I could set up and dedicate specifically to that. Next. Yeah, until it's at least 10, it's not truly mature bourbon. Yeah, so you're basically saying that almost all of the bourbon in the United States is not mature, and I would disagree with that. That's a highly untrue, highly suspicious statement. Roadcast can make it a 20. I want to play for sure. Use mine to finish a bunch of stuff. Those tiny barrels are fun to play with for sure. Used mine to finish a bunch of stuff. It's very informative, very educational. They're good for experiments. But they do not turn bad whiskey into good whiskey. They just turn whiskey into well-aged whiskey. You don't need to mention well-done steak when you're adding A1. Well, the point was it's not good steak to start with. You're just putting lipstick on a pig. Well done is doneness for jerky, not steak. I agree. Age stated Jack is unicorn tears. here in the Cincinnati area. Okay. Okay, duly noted. Like I said, I'm spoiled. I live in Houston. Everybody wants to sell their stuff, and Houston's one of those places where you can sell the stuff. It's a big market. Big market. 2 hours from Kansas City. Best I can do. Yep. Admittedly, I'm spoiled. Yeah. I live in, the fourth? Or we're the fourth or third. I think we might have caught Chicago. But we kind of go back and forth with between us and Chicago. I think we might be the third largest metro, or the third largest city, maybe the fourth largest city. But I think we might be the fifth largest metro. I can't remember. I know Miami-Dade is huge. New York's huge. Miami-Dade is a larger metro than Miami proper. But I can't remember. Living in Houston. Yeah, there are more people living in Houston than all of Kansas. That is true. And when people ask me why, when are we going to go into Louisiana, I remind people that there's 35 million people in the state of Texas. 35 million people in the state of Texas, and there's like 7 million in the city of Houston, or this Houston metro. It's dumb. It's just dumb how big these cities are. And that's not even to reference the ones like in Japan and Mexico and China. I mean, Jesus, China. God, China has so many people. So many people in China. And when, people tell me that Chinese is a hard language to learn, I tell them, like, billions of people learn it when they're babies. It's not that hard to learn. Yeah, and then some. That's true. I believe it's the fourth largest city. It may be the third largest city. I don't know if we've caught Chicago, but we are fast approaching Chicago. Yeah. I love how we're all in like the same brain waves. 7.8 in the metro. Kansas is a tick under 3 million in the state. Yeah. Yeah. And the size of the city. Oh my God. The size of the city is just embarrassing. I mean, you can easily drive 60 miles from one side of the city to the other. Just on I-10 from the one side of the metro to the other. I mean, it is one. I've had more than one tasting in the Houston market. That's an hour away. Beaumont is technically in the Houston market, and that's 90 minutes from my house. It's just cuckoo bird crazy. So is Galveston. Galveston's also in the Houston metro area. Part of the Houston metro area is Galveston, Texas, and that is 90 minutes to the coast. Woo! When I say 53 barrels in Kentucky, Texas, smaller barrels. Well, yeah, Texas, smaller barrels, but I'm actually moving towards larger barrels here in Texas as well. I'm working my way towards larger barrels. So we're talking about doing we're on the verge of finishing a straight bourbon, high rye, double oak, 50-gallon, 3-year straight bourbon whiskey. Working on finishing that. We're in the final stages, as a matter of fact. In the next 6 to 12 months, we should have that ready to go. You heard it here first. 506 10-year bourbon was kind of the norm. Really? I've never known bourbons to be 10 years. Most bourbons I encounter between 4 and 7 at the most. Hell, Jim Beam is 4.5. Yeah. I can't think of any that are 7 off the top of my head. Back when Shelfer EC was 12. Well, that's not. I see what you're talking about now. Okay. I see what you're talking about. You are top shelf Dustin. So, ancient age 10-year-old was $12 in 05? 06? 10-year-old whiskey for $12? Huh. 9-year whiskey for $9? Wow. Well, you are that is information that I did not have. I don't see those. Hey, buddy. He's on my toes. He's just snuggled up to my feet. He's such a good boy. He's such a good boy. 300,000 more people in Chicago than Houston. Close. We'll catch them by the end of the year. Or we'll add a metro area. We'll add a whole nother Baijiu outsells bourbon. Yep. That makes sense. In the bourbon, there's so much 15 plus on shelves just sitting under $100. Huh. That is information to me. I guess I normally when I go look at the whiskeys, I'm looking at the mid-range stuff. I'm not looking at the longer aged specialties. Or I guess maybe they're not specialties. They're just not stuff that's quite on my radar. Okay, I'm going to do a thing now. We're going to do a thing where I'm going to... All right. You'll notice I am much smaller here than I was before. I'm going to take this logo. Well, that's not a logo. Okay. So I'm going to copy a link. Copy the link into chat. And I'm going to open the forum for people to join me if this works. I don't know if it'll work, but if you click that link, you will come up on my director's screen. And if you want to join the chat and talk with me directly, I think this will work. I think it'll work. So I'm going to go back to here because I've run out of stuff to talk about. And I actually kind of want to test this before I wrap the show up just to make sure that it works. But you are correct. Dogs are the best. I do have a cat, though, that acts like a dog. I sit on the couch. He comes running across. He'll come running across the room and jump into, like literally jump into my lap to snuggle in and sit in my lap. He is a very dog-like cat, and I love him for that. Is it mid-shelf? It was cheaper than Makers in Woodford. Maybe that's why I don't recognize. I don't pay any attention to it because it's like bottom shelf. I always shop right in the middle. I always go for the mid stuff. I try not to be too expensive. I try not to be too cheap. An hour ago I've done it, but now I'm about to hit the hay. Fair enough. Sweat, blah, blah, blah. Friendly cat, they're better. But those are unicorns. Okay, we have a taker. Who do we have over here? Link copied to clipboard. All right, if this works, I've added a whole new function, and I will be very excited. Okay, properties. I changed this file to that. Did it work? I don't know if it worked. Hang on. An hour ago I've done it, but I'm about to hit the hay. Fair enough. Copy to clipboard. Oh, it is working. It's just my computer is slow. Did he turn off his camera? You are on. Hey, we got a guest. It worked. This works. Now, the question is, will I be able to hear you? Because I can see you talking. I can't. Oh, I fucked it up. Okay, properties. Hold on. Change this file. I think they can hear you, but I don't think I can hear you. Now you're dark again. You're back. I think my computer's just fucking it up.
Well,
All right.
I was just a little delayed.
Did that do it?
Oh.
Can I hear you?
It's working. It's just my computer is slow.
He's got an echo. I see that. I see it echoing. Okay. Well, this is a failed experiment. Because I can't hear him either.
Oh, wait. I got to leave it going here, man.
It's not coming through my speaker. He's got an echo. Hang on. Let me see if I can put it on my phone. Say something? Okay, I can hear you. Okay, you're definitely there. I just can't hear you.
Yeah.
It's not coming through on my speakers. Not coming through on my phone.
Yeah, I love the show
So that
style.
was
You're doing
cool.
it right.
All right. So
Feels
I'm gonna.
great. It's
I
really
gotta.
cool.
I gotta.
I also like that
All right. Well, that's enough of that.
idea of
Close
some
that.
kind of knickknacks in
Sorry.
the shops.
I thought this would work, but it did not.
Yeah, I get.
So thanks for trying. Thanks for popping in and trying. But it just didn't work. It didn't work. I mean, it worked, but it didn't work well enough that I could do it. I will have that problem solved in I will have that problem solved in the next 4 days. And guys, just so y'all know, that was Connor Keys, Connor Middle. There he is in chat. That was the guy who hosts the Vaudevillian show, the First Fridays at Old Humble. That was my boy Connor. That was the guy. Connor McLean Conman. All right. I see your screen name there. But yeah, he does our First Friday shows. I think every time I see him, I don't acknowledge that right away. So I get the feeling that he thinks I don't recognize him. I don't know who he is, but I do. I know who you are, Connor. Okay. But thanks for trying. I appreciate that. I will have the technical issues fixed. I hope that the technical issues aren't based in my hardware, because I would love to be able to open this up to a forum and talk to people directly on the show. There is a way to solve these problems, and I don't know what the way is. I don't want to use Restream because I like my OBS platform. I like the versatility of all of this around me. I don't like Restream. I don't like StreamYard. I don't like going through my browser in order to broadcast. So that's what I like about OBS. Is it's a very versatile, very plug and play type of system. But it also takes a lot of planning and forethought in order to get this stuff set up. But what that allows me to do at the shop is use my phone as kind of a remote camera as a first guest, so I can start streaming in the shop on the operating floor, turn on my phone as a guest, and then kind of walk around the tasting room and give you all a tour of the tasting room and the bar and stuff. So it's something that I can actually build out. Yes, Jason. Stop it. It's not going on my end. The forum. Yeah, it's done over here. I just turned off my director's set and it was done. Okay. So what time is it? It's 1:00, right at 2.5 hours. We're done. And I'm looking at the giveaway. The goal is clicking down to the last 2.5 minutes. Like I said, it doesn't look like we're going to be giving away a t-shirt today, which is fine. What is going on with this thing? Oh. There we go. So our goal ends in just a few seconds at this point. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And the goal was 10 chats of at least $2 to give away a t-shirt. Dun, 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 dun. But like I said, I'm in the whiskey business, not the t-shirt business. And I think I'm on the verge of being convinced that I might be in the merchandise business, but we'll see. Who's there? Good night, Dustin. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate the chat. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up as well. It is, I have a very, very busy weekend, a very, very busy day. We have a cornhole tournament coming on Saturday at the shop, so I have to like clear out a space on the floor so they will have room to play cornhole. And in order to clear out the space on the floor, I have to finish bottling up and boxing up several cases of whiskey so that we can have that space available. Jason, where's that at? See, I can read it off the Twidget. I can read it off of this on my screen. It's hard. I see the chat pop up. I can see the chat pop up, but I can't really see what's written. Here, I can at least see enough of it to be able to interpret what's being written. All right, dude. You're good. I appreciate you guys coming out. Thanks again. I really do. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you guys coming out. I appreciate the chat. I appreciate the talk. It's a good night. It's a good night. When it's not all me monologuing, when I can actually bounce off a chat, I really want to be able to open up the forum. What's cool about the OBS Video Ninja is it's not like Skype or a big group room where everybody's in and I can't like control the conversation. What I've always been reluctant about with the forum, with the forum show, like on StreamYard or Restream, is when you get 8 or 9 people in the room and it becomes just people talking over each other and you can't really have the conversation. And as a brand, I want to make sure that the conversation doesn't fully and totally go off the rails. I don't need to be talking. I don't want to have a conversation about the virtues of fascism in the United States. There are none. I don't want to have a conversation about how 9/11 was an inside job. I don't need to be, I don't want that nonsense. I'm a big fan of nonsense, but there are certain kinds of nonsense that I don't want. So the forum shows are a risk for me when you have 6 or 7 people just coming up onto the forum. It's a risk that I try to not have, but with this OBS, I can set it up for like 4 people. I can set up to only have 4 people. I can have 1 or 2 guest hosts. My buddy, excuse me, I guess it's time to go. My buddy Connor, my buddy Jody can come up on the show and do their things and chat and talk about what they do. Jody is a comedian. Connor is a performer. I love nonsense too, but nonsense is great. It's the bullshit nonsense that I get, the edgelord bullshit that drives me nuts. Because these guys don't give a shit. They act like they don't give a shit. And they think that, throwing Molotov cocktails around is fun and clever and it's edgy and they're just asking questions and just making people think. They're not. They're not doing anything valuable. They're the problem. They're anthropomorphized turds. And it just absolutely fucking drives me nuts. Because you can't have a real conversation with them. You can't have a conversation. You can't have a real debate because they just don't care. They just don't care. They don't care about anything. And they're fine with being wrong because they're just going to change the subject. And then turn around and just call you pussy. Like, that's all you got? You can't attack my masculinity. You can't attack my manhood. You fucking twits. Anyway, peace, love, and whiskey. That's what we do. Good vibes all the time. All the time, good vibes. All the time, good vibes. Petting my dog because he's the best. Sweet boy. And my wife's out of town right now. So I guarantee I'm going to go into my bedroom. There's going to be, our cat's going to be laying on my pillow. My dog's in here paying attention to me because usually he's in bed, at least in the bedroom with my wife when she's at this hour, when she's asleep, he's in there with her. So he's obviously paying attention to me right now. But we've got a big weekend in front of us. I've got a big month in front of us. We've got a big year planned. We are doing our part to spread the good word of whiskey to everyone in the country. Go visit our website, oldhumbledistilling.com. We've got so many things going on, so many initiatives that I really, 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 really want to share with people through our channels, through the YouTube, through the social medias. So by all means, stay tuned. Subscribe to our newsletter. Visit us on the social medias. Follow us on all the places: Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook. Here on YouTube, obviously, like, follow, hit the notification bell. You're going to start seeing us in places that you don't expect to see us. And that's all I can say about that right now. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun couple of months coming up. Be awesome to each other. Do your best to be a light and not darkness. Cheers, guys. See you next time on the Old Humble Happy Hour. Good night. Cheers. There's the closing scene. Cheers, guys.